Golden State Warriors. Zay predicted the Heat to win. Remember, he is the resident Heat fan, rightfully so. So Zay, tell us how you feeling and your initial reactions to the game.
Got to give credit where credit is due. Celtics played a better game tonight on, to me, both ends of the floor. Shout out to Tatum and Brown, handling business and going into Game 7 with that Mamba mentality. You saw Jason Tatum having that armband on, representing Kobe tonight. So shout out to them for that. Well played. As a Heat fan, it stings a little bit. This one stings a little bit more than it has in a while. I really thought, that I know that we had a chance at this at a finals berth this year, and just a little too lax at the end of the game, or pretty much throughout the series, and we can point to injuries and all kinds of stuff, but at the end of the day, just kind of got outplayed on both ends at the end of the game. Shout out to the guys for a hard-fought season. Shout out to Jimmy doing everything he could to put us over the hump. But once again, shout out to Jason Tatum winning the first ever Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Shout out to Al Horford making his first finals appearance after many playoff games. So yeah, that's my initial reaction.
In the game, it seemed like the Heat came out kind of sluggish. To be at home, they were missing that intensity from them in that first quarter. It was honestly, the first half was like Jimmy Butler all by himself. I don't want to hear any Jimmy Butler slander. Jimmy Butler played his butt off. He really did. It's for Miami, it's all about the help. The help really didn't step up tonight. Unfortunately, you had some buckets here and there from Bam, and Kyle Lowry made some key defensive plays at certain points, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough compared to what Boston had. And that's really what was the main difference. The Celtics it's like the Celtics and the Heat kind of flip positions based on the intensity. The second half is like Boston came out kind of flat, and for the Heat to play so poorly and to only be down like single digits or whatever, or at least by 10 half, that's a success if you're the Heat. And if you're Boston, even though you got the win tonight, I'm not sure how confident you can be going against the Golden State Warriors team based on your performance tonight. So we get into that a little bit later too, but it was very competitive down the stretch. I'm glad it was more competitive. But yeah, I really did. So this is at this point we can talk about what exactly went wrong for the Heat now. And this is the point right here. I'm not mad at Jimmy Butler for taking the shot, but he's in transition. Al Horford's backpedaling. Jimmy Butler decides to go for a three. At this point, he is 1 for 3 in the game. At this point, me personally, I'm not. When he took the shot, I was like, oh, that was a chance. I was like, he didn't have to go for that there. I think there was a chance for him to potentially get an and one because he was killing it in the paint consistently the entire game. And to come back in that sort of time span and to take that jump shot, you live and die with it. It's fine, but what was your thought when you took that shot? I was like, oh, he had to go for it right there. That was literally my reaction. I was like, oh, Jimmy, he had to do that. That was my reaction. But what was yours?
Honestly, I'm not mad at it. You know, he's been very much better than in the regular season as far as his 3-point percentage. And earlier in the game, he had a shot just like that. So I'm not, I'm not questioning his shot choice. Obviously, we know he's not the best 3-point shooter. But when I saw the shot, I was like, okay, I get what he was going for, and it would have put us up 1 at that point. And, regardless of whatever the shot was, it still was either, he still had 3 options, and he still missed at the end of the day. But I don't condemn the shot, the choice to shoot a 3-pointer, but I think it would have been a bit better if he would have maybe worked the clock a little bit, get a better shot, and we had numbers, we had some transition. Al Horford was kind of down low by himself. I can't remember who else was in the half court at that point for the Celtics, but if he would have given a little bit more time, or, it would have been great to get an easier shot for him specifically, but it was, I don't know, it's tough, man. It's a shot that I wish he would have knocked down, but it's also a shot that I wish, like, if he were to take 3 still, I wish he would have given time for us to have Bam or somebody down low that could, be there to box out. Because it was just, I want to say it was just Victor Oladipo, and it was against Al Horford, and I feel like Al Horford was pretty good forward that's going to win that rebound matchup. But, we live and die by it, and you can't make them all. So I was like, I'm not mad at him taking the shot, because I believe in him, and I trust him to make the right decision. And at that point, I got what he was doing. It just was unfortunate that it didn't go down.
Yeah, I definitely understood why he took the shot. I can also understand why Eric Spoelstra didn't call a timeout.
I mean, at that point, I don't even think we had timeouts left. And
you had 1 left, I think. You had 1 left. And it sucks because now when you go back, you had a burner timeout. Kyle tried to pull the chair.
Yeah.
He made some mistakes in this game. I ain't gonna lie. He made some gambles.
I wasn't even gonna touch on it, but you bring it up.
That's your guy. He made several. He was almost in foul trouble again, but thankfully they didn't get him too much trouble early on. Those real early fouls. We were like, again, you fouled out last game, and to already start the game like this. And I think that plays into the overall intensity of it. And that second foul, that was just a lazy foul. There was no reason to take that foul. You're already set. Your defense is already set up in the half court. There was no reason to foul. I think it was Smart at that point. So, yeah, some really, really mistakes right there. And Jeff Van Gundy touched on it too about the habits. So habits do catch up with you.
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
definitely made some bonehead plays in this game. I'm not taking my former stance of, I really am not a big fan of him, but I respect him. I've given him that respect, but I still, some of the things that he does on the floor sometimes, they bother me as a basketball fan. And tonight was one of those nights.
I mean, he did get some key charges for y'all at certain points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doubting that he has.
But he's been doing that all his career, though.
It's just
that's who he is.
There's been moments in his career that make me question his basketball talent. Sometimes, you know what I mean. It's I'm trying to I respect the dude, but it's just certain things that I just like this dude is, and especially in his past, it's just been like I don't understand why you do some of the things you do. And tonight was one of those nights where I respect you. I'm not saying I don't like you anymore. I'm saying I just don't like some of the things that you, or some of the choices that you make, that they bother me. So yeah.
I think you just give him some grace just because he's on your team. I believe that Kyle Lowry is not on the Heat right now. You will go in on Kyle. He did make some mistakes that were very questionable. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll be honest. If this was Kyle Lowry and he was in Toronto or wherever else, probably. I mean, like I get it, and I'm like I said, I it's not even that I don't even like. I would probably give him the same. Honestly, I give him the same reaction whether it was him playing with the Heat or not. But
yeah,
I respect him because he did, after all those playoff flops, he did redeem himself kind of in 2019 with Kawhi, and I respect him as a regular season player. But in the playoffs in the past, he's had some blunders. I'm like, man, I don't get it. And then, after he finally got there, got over the hump, got his championship, joined the Heat, I was like, okay, I'm trying to grow and not look at him in the same light. And plus, I know he's dealt with injury and everything else, but it's still a fact that he made some bonehead plays. And I think as a basketball fan in general, not just a Heat fan, everyone's like, why would you, we're in a half-court defense and you just take a lazy foul. We need you in the game. We need to get in rhythm. Why would you foul Marcus Smart on a random trend? Not even like a slow mid-transition type of play. It wasn't even like he was by himself on an island. It's just like certain stuff I just don't understand sometimes, man. But
So how do you feel about them calling back that 3 from Max Strus?
I mean, I looked at the replay and I guess his heel touched the line.
I don't know. I wish you saw different angles of that though.
Yeah, it's a weird way to go back, and after you initially, that's what the problem is. It's like after you initially count it, and then I feel like maybe it was a timeout. I feel like some time passed, and they're like, oh, the 3 didn't count because he stepped on line. It's like, when did y'all even review it? You know what I mean? Like, and what caused it to be reviewed? Which is, I mean, I get it. It's a cool thing to make sure you get it right. And the angle that I saw from the game was like, okay, well, I guess he did step out. It just is, unfortunate that it happened that way.
Yeah, definitely very unfortunate. So Tyler Hero was eligible to play, but he only played 6 minutes and 43 seconds. So I thought when he was out there, he looked okay. It didn't look like to me that he was just hurting. So I think for the most part, I think it was just a coach's decision not to let him play, especially in the second half. I don't think he had any minutes in the second half. So
no, he didn't play at all in the second half.
And based on the pregame interview when he was talking with Lisa, it seemed like he was definitely ready to go based on her reporting. So I don't understand why wasn't Tyler available, because you need, you guys as Miami Heat squad needed some offense. And you just weren't getting it. Like Kyle Lowry went 4 for 12. Victor Oladipo 4 for 12. Strus 3 for 10. Vincent didn't play too many minutes. He played about 15 minutes. 1 for 4. And Tucker, he was mostly out there for defense. So we don't really expect too much from him offensively, but he was still 0 for 3. The only person that contributed for the Heat was really Bam Adebayo, which I said he needed to step up. He did. He played decently, but I wish there was more of a. He gave me 25. It's not bad. I wish his points mostly came in like in the second half, I think. That's when he really showed up in the second half. I wish he showed up a little bit in the first half too. I don't know. I feel like Miami. I feel like they just rush some shots at the end. I feel like there's just like a lot of rush shots that weren't like smart in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Those last 5 minutes, they looked a little flustered, and they were trying to get up quick shots instead of getting good shots.
Mm-hmm. And Boston, they allowed them to come into the game to get back into it because they're trying to play prevent. They're playing prevent like defense, like wasting time on the clock, and just lanes were totally open. They're able to get into the paint super easily. That's how they're able to cut the lead down.
Yeah, Miami's first half defense was just atrocious. I remember watching that play with Smart being in the pick and roll, and he just slipped the screen, wide open, no one rotated over. The problem for the Heat was that, if they could play defense, they couldn't score. If they could score, they couldn't play defense. It was like there was no point in the game consistently that they could play on both ends of the floor. And, thankfully, Boston made some mistakes and allowed the Heat to stay in the game, but they just couldn't lock in on both ends at the same time, and therefore never really gave themselves a fair chance. And Boston was able to take advantage of that. Boston going forward will have to be better with, just their rotations, and they'll be fine. But, a lot of things went wrong as far as defense for the Heat, but we'll see about it next year again.
Yeah. And final analysis on this game too. Looking at the overall team comparisons, Boston out rebounded for the most part. The threes were not falling down from Miami at all. About 20% from three. It's not good. Although Boston was 34%, but still. Yeah, this right here, I forgot about this. The free throw misses. Kyle Lowry, particularly in the first half, those free throw misses were not good.
Yeah, I remember
that played a factor too. I almost forgot about that. Those free throw misses.
Yeah, it was a point I remember that the Heat were 10 of 18 from the free throw line, and I look at the score. If you make 6 or 8 of those, you're down. You're either tying the game or you're down within 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you just make majority of the free throws, but they missed way too many. It was just like the basic things, went wrong. They couldn't make free throws. They couldn't, rotate on defense. No one else could score really outside of Jimmy, and then Bam kind of turned it up. Just a lot, man. That everyone was missing free throws, and I was like, man, could we just? Everybody's going 1 for 2 on each trip. I'm like, man, oh my god, if we could just get consistent free throw shooting, we could be in this game. Like we wouldn't have to have fought back so hard. We would have been right there the whole time. But yeah.
Another what you doing moment was in the first half, towards the end of the first half. Victor Oladipo, I think he was trying to get a 2-for-1 situation going. To take that shot, even if you're trying to get 2-for-1, that shot's not going to cut it. At least try to get a little bit closer to the line, at least. When he did that, I'm like, you'll take that shot unless it's a heat check. And he didn't have it going like that at that point, I mean, he made like a shot here that earlier, but not right there. And I was like, man, things like that can kill the momentum. So that was another moment. I was like, what you doing?
Yep. I I saw the shot and I was like, why did he take that? And as I think Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, and Mark Jones pointed out, if it was a 2-for-1 shot, it still was too late.
Right.
And on top of that, he can shoot, right? He's a 3-point shooter, but he's not a deep 3-point shooter. He's not a deep threat like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right. I mean, I get what he was trying to do, but it was more stuff than just that. That was a bonehead play as well. But
yeah,
it just was a lot that went wrong.
it was.
I hate that shot too, but
yeah. And not attacking enough in the transition too. Like to really get back into the game, you gotta attack in transition. There were certain points in the game I was like, okay, push it. Like, don't let Boston set their defense. If they set their defense, that's it.
And Boston was running transition points.
They were every time. That's the other stat I wanted to point out too. Fast break points. Boston won that category 20-13. So yeah, it's just the intensity in the beginning of the game wasn't there for the Heat. Boston had it, and then it just switched in the second half. And I was a little disappointed in Jason Tatum's performance too. It was like he wasn't attacking enough. Even if you have a Kobe band on you, I think you would like show a little bit more intensity. But he showed up a little bit in that fourth quarter. Finally, he made some really tough shots to help the Celtics stay ahead. And even though the Heat made consistent runs here and there, the Heat never took the lead. It was like you're right there, just never took the lead. Boston always makes some type of play to come back. So yeah, that's